I finally understand. I thought I understood, but now I understand gooder. All those years, all those people telling me that if I simply applied myself, I'd be going places. Those places they thought would be NASA, the medical field, the depths of the ocean. But I applied myself to Kenshi, and I'm going to Kenshi. I'm Kenshin right now as we speak. They may have eaten my wife Plop, they may have eaten my entire friend circle, but one thing they have not eaten is my indomitable human spirit. I established an outpost, a kingdom upon a foundation of dirt and stone. And then the Mormons came, so instead I established an outpost, a shitbox upon a foundation of blood and dilapidated human flesh. I had people come to me, traders, who would come up to me and say, "You've gone too far." To which I would look them in the eye and say, "I didn't go far enough," and then proceed to jelk it in front of them until they leave, dejected that they've made no sales. Look at this guy, this is Jeff. Jeff had his own ass shoved so far up his own ass that he no longer knows who he is or how to navigate. This is because of something to do with the water in his ears and balance or whatever. His spine is broken, but he exists in this torment because I did not go far enough. Anyway, while I was writing this, Jeff died and despawned. I look upon his puddle of bodily fluids he left behind. I understand. There are those, however, in my group of friends to replace the friends who are ruthlessly eaten by cannibals who do not understand, such as this little guy, Bort. Bort is like this little human Geodude thing that I picked up at a bar somewhere, but some training, some deliberately experienced trauma is all that is needed to develop antibodies against future trauma, all that is required to become stronger in Kenshi. Because Kenshi is about suffering, and using that suffering to become more, to excel. This trauma, this suffering is endemic of all walks of life in Kenshi. Watch on as this pack Garu is fully submerged, and yet is simply unconscious and cannot drown. It cannot die, only suffer. After a lengthy coma, Bort rises again, and he understands. And it is important that we all develop understanding, for understanding is to trauma as night is to day, effort is to production, struggle is to strength. It's like my cannibalized wife always used to say, ass to ass, dust to dust. Ass better than dust because it helps you bust. As you can see here, this is Trauma Farmer. This is what happens to someone when you do not understand. When you experience trauma over and over again, but you do not develop the antibodies, you do not understand. Legend goes that she continued to farm trauma, foregoing her own identity, becoming known only as the Trauma Farmer. She will continue to farm trauma with me, so that she may one day understand. There are many things we have to do to become more powerful. We cannot rely on the wandering traders who visit our base, and so we must establish supply lines. We awake angrily to the sound of various teammates working the copper mines, which then Bort packs into this ordinary-sized basket and inevitably gets attacked by bandits on the road for daring to carry it to the next town over to be sold. The issue isn't so much that he continuously gets attacked by, frankly, an unsustainably large group of hungry people that the barren lands of Kenshi absolutely could not provide for. It's that we'd always have to bring in Lucky Mate and burn early access, the only competent fighters in the group to go and rescue him. Bored. Invariably resulting in Lucky Mate carrying our human brick to his target location. We fall asleep angrily. But on the upside, on our supply line travels we recruit Scrungleborp, who is this woman with comically large breasts. Breasts that are the bane of her existence. And spinal integrity, probably. She will be useful because she can show our new group of friends what real suffering is what I thought. But running the supply lines, Bort would soon discover this for himself, because he would be pursued by dozens of hungry bandits who will then shatter his entire legular system, disabling him, which causes a localized gravitational impulse located entirely within the confines of slightly beneath his feet, propelling him into the air where he will remain unconscious. He is then eaten alive by this one blood spider. Obviously, this is a certified yeah-nah moment, so Lachlan puts the blood spider into the dirt, and Bort surprisingly survives. But as a man who is already 3'0", it is more a case of what he must survive without than what he must survive with. No one ever said establishing supply lines and a source of income would be easy. On the other hand, no one ever said establishing supply lines in Kenshi would get you eaten alive, chased through lands being orbitally striked, chased by bandits and also these cow things with huge toes. But this is Kenshi, and I must understand. He's gonna go down. He really is like a big sack of shit, isn't he? Alright, Bort, mate. The big guns. You're going out there to get our boy back. Get the loot back. But most importantly, to be a hero. A little brick-shaped hero. He doesn't even look like he's swimming, he's just kind of floating forward. He rescues Lachlan and takes over the supply route. Forgotten what he looks like, he can't... Yeah, that's staying on, buddy. Lachlan returns home. He returns home and he understands. Bort continues through Venge to the next town over and is hit with the orbital laser. He shrugs it off. Bort is immense. His suffering, his understanding has made him powerful. You may not know it at first glance, but as Bort floats away from this dog thing that is trying to eat him, you are witnessing peak human performance. Burn Early Access once again comes to Lachlan's aid and heals him. He remarks that if it is broken, it can be fixed. He simply understands the weakness of the flesh and announces his superiority. Bort boards the small stool in the bar, which speaks to him, and then from it he materializes Chad, the newest member of the team. Bort looks on at him and understands. Please comment. Bort. Anyway, sometime later, Chad is being eaten alive, and so begins an enormous days-long battle to secure the supply lines as they are obviously being congested with danger from every direction. The entire team gets involved, clearing bandit camps, fighting beak things. Trauma Farmer stands in the middle of the camp, unable to move. She was there on the front lines. She has had both of her arms shattered. She has experienced trauma again, but not enough to build up an immunity. She does not understand. From the safety within the walls of the compound, Lucky Mate works the research bench for blueprints to improve the base, pondering the words Burn said to him. If it is broken, it can be fixed. If only there was some way we could be more fixable. If only there was some way we could overcome the weakness of the flesh. You see, there's this thing, right, called the peeler machine. This thing is going to solve all of our problems. All of the weakness of the flesh would be a thing of the past. Between the numerous bandit raids, we would rest up stronger than before, except in the case of Skungleborp, whose spine is horribly twisted and contorted due to her enormous breasts that have come to bring her immeasurable pain. But anyway, yes, the group would work on constructing the peeler machine. Except for, Skungleborp for reasons previously mentioned, and also, I guess, Trauma Farmer who's, working through some shit, to be honest. I hope she's okay, for real. You see, what this machine does is it strips away the flesh and replaces that flesh with, well, nothing really. It'll turn you into a human nugget that we will then have to have heaps of money to upgrade with mechanical parts. All the human parts we lose. Things like left and right arms, legs, and whatever else of ours gets accidentally caught in the blades and hooks. But surely nothing goes wrong, right? Right? However, we can't really afford high-quality replacement parts with our paltry squalor coin purse, which is filled only with 6,000 cats, some sand, and the painful memories of the blood-curdling screams of a sorted vegetable man being eaten alive. So Burn Early Access is sent away to trade, while a song of steel rings out within the walls of our base as a horde of hungry bandits are sent down to Dismemberment Town by our boy Gobnobbler. He nobbles gobs, you see. Even Skungleborp gets her spine readjusted. This is exactly the kind of thing she needs. Anyway, what I mean by sending Burn to trade is Burn going to his hometown in Black Desert City and stealing masterwork mechanical limbs as required for what is to come next. As he makes his way back with the loot, Skungleborp rubs Bort's shoulders so that he may work harder at creating iron plates, which allow us to create these cages we build around the peeler machine. You see, it's not enough that our people should witness Lucky Mate's ascension, but our prisoners as well. I look upon the peeler machine, and I understand.
Oh no, stop please, stop please! My leg!
Oh, he pleads. He begs to be released from this fresh turmoil, while his people, they look on. But literally no one asked. The prisoners all look on at the nugget, but possibly also at Skungleborp's weird posture in the back there. Is she okay? Does she need spinal realignment? We release Lachlan from his procedure, fully successfully nuggeted. He's seen better days, but we rejoice. Short-lived though, because during all of that, some hungry bandits broke in and started to raid my base. And so his companions drop him there while they go to deal with the menace within the walls. He crawls through the sand with his little man nubs that he's received no anesthetic or sterilization for. Ascension, they call it. I understand. Chad is literally wind god stepping into a flying kick to kill some hungry people, and we spy a jiggly torso in the background. A joyous occasion. With new mechanical limbs, he runs. 20 minutes prior, he'd had his entire set of limbs and penis destroyed by a rusty machine we cobbled together, with steel plates Bort had made while receiving a massage from Skungleborp. No painkillers. No anesthesia. He runs at a casual 37 miles per hour, which is 10 miles per hour faster than Usain Bolt. He's so fast he's like a Mitsubishi Lancer, if a Mitsubishi Lancer were electric, on low power mode, and made entirely out of cardboard. We, however, only swim at 3 miles per hour, at 47 swimming skill. You might think it's because he's not pushing, he's not fighting, but he is fighting. He's fighting the water in his lungs because he is constantly sinking. His new limbs are not buoyant, you see. In this gangrenous river, we find the Armor King's shop. He pleads with us to not steal anything, and tells us his headless robotic guards will hear me stealing things with their advanced audio sensors. The problem is, however, that I've only brought 681 cats, because as you all know, I live in a peeler machine in the desert and I have nothing. In an effort to save these 681 cats for Skungelborp spinal surgery, I fill every backpack I have with stolen goods from Armor King. This is because he was lying about his robots. One even watches me stealing, but, just looks at me. It looks at me, and I understand. It is what it is. Thanks for the armor. While some of us are out working, there are those of us who would rather sit down inside the wooden structure of our long drop toilet, enjoying the fumes on this temperate 700-degree Kenshi desert day. And I need someone to man the place so I can go skirmish the cannibals who ate my wife Plop. And I need them to not be starving all the time like those of us I've already recruited. I mean, I started to collect hungry bandits seeing as there's so many of them, cage them up and then recruit them into our group of, let's say, unpaid workers. Such as Hung Gary and Han Gary. And while I can't fault them for the work ethic, such as having Hangry work the stone mines by karate chopping it with his good arm while his dead arm holds the pickaxe, it still wouldn't truly free up Bort to be able to continue his supply lines without having to rush back home. His lordly immenseness required to defend the people. But essentially what I'm trying to get at is we have too many mouths to feed and too few hands to work. And people like Bort, his lordly immenseness, he's needed elsewhere. Watch him as these crossbow-wielding bandits try to fire at him, but cannot hit him because he is behind a solid object. However, then phasing through that solid object to crush them easily in combat. I can't imagine the screaming, the pain these bandits feel. Burn comes out of early access. He is now in the beta testing phase. He is now much more powerful and is edging closer to full release, because soon the final days will be upon us where we travel north. We journey to Venge where we may incapacitate legions of headless skeleton thralls. We kidnap them and take them back to camp. These are long endeavors that require multiple trips, but eventually we have 10 of them imprisoned. Burn 0.9 beta hacks them once we have learned all of their secret codes. Up, down, 2, up, down, down, up, 2, 3, up, down. It's always the same. Up, down, 2, up, down, up, 2, 3, up, down. And my sons are free, unlocked from their mechanical prisons and given free will. The free will to do only exactly as I say and man the goddamn turrets at camp. I love them, my affectionately alphabetically named robot sons. Alop, Blop, Clop, Dlop, Elop. I look upon them as I reprogram them into believing in love, that they are my sons. And I understand, for it is they who must man the guns and keep my kingdom safe while we travel on to avenge my cannibalized wife, Plop. We travel the lands north, Bort managing to keep up with the absurdly fast pace of Burn, and a literal cyborg made to run as fast as a Mitsubishi Lancer if it were electrical, on low power mode, and made out of cardboard, towards our goal that we would even consider our entire purpose. We find our first cannibal patrol in the night. They are cut down easily. Chad actually just I'd forgotten to give him a weapon, so he'd kind of just been forced to learn to be good at hand-to-hand combat. And the great thing about this particular bandit camp is it has beds. So once the deed is done, we're able to rest in their beds, use their own resources against them. However, there's this one cannibal who is still alive and just starts straight up imprisoning our people once they'd been napping for 6 seconds, the absolute mad lad. One moment you close your eyes, the next you're imprisoned. Just imagine the amount of trauma farmers just sustained. They straight up lifted Bort up, who is now suspended in the air, the sheer disrespect endured by this man. The next morning we crash like rolling thunder through, I guess you could call them, the Big Mama type cannibals, and we find their little cannibal goon village. This is just a group of screaming naked people running through it really is. They're just leaving. It's a massacre, and vengeance is being farmed. We massacre them all, and we have everyone sleep in their beds. Unfortunately, while we're dealing with some of them, my sleeping companions are all imprisoned again. It's crazy, it's almost as if I don't learn from my mistakes or something. So I resort to, sleeping shifts in the cannibal beds, whereby there would be guards standing just outside the house and people inside sleeping to restore some health. It's not the best plan, but it's like Bear Grylls used to say. Improvise. Adapt. Come. I do this for so long that there's literally a mountain of bodies inside, just outside, and surrounding the house. I stand guard, surrounded by the flies and the bodies. And I understand. We make our way further west and spot the cannibal capital city of Deadcat just off in the distance. I look off over their city and I remember my wife Plop. I understand. The first wave, little green goblin boys. Chad uses his body to destroy the body of another. I don't really understand, but it's kinda cool. The second wave are cannibal chiefs, who we lure out with Lachlan running at such a high speed that, I don't know, it would be too fast for a school zone or something. Trauma farmer farms more trauma. but like in reverse, and gives it to her enemies. Finally, the Cannibal Grand Wizard. Lachlan charges in at warp speed. The Cannibal Grand Wizard makes the mistake of ignoring Lachlan and trying to brutalize Bort. But this does not work, obviously, because Bort is a weapon. We have the Grand Wizard in our possession. With the final few cannibals down, we have avenged my cannibalized wife, Plop. With my victory achieved, my cannibalized wife Plop avenged, there is no more time for pettiness. No more time for understanding. So I hand in the Grand Wizard to the Sheks for the 40,000 cat bounty. I look on him, and I understand. Then I break him free, beat him unconscious, carry him to the skeleton homeland of the Deadlands, drop him in the acid rain pools. I understand as he bobs around. Then I carry him home, put him on the crucifix, and I'm finished. Like I said, there's no more room for pettiness. So anyway, I took him down from the cross, held a ceremony at the peeler contraption, put the Grand Wizard in the peeler. I look upon the people as he peels. And they understand. Bort understands. He's all like, Bort. Hungary and the workers are all throwing gang signs. Burn understands. Trauma Farmer actually, I think she's just there for now. So it's like I said, there's no more room for pettiness. So I plonk the Grand Wizard human nugget in the acid pools, then bring him back home, place him on the crucifix. I look upon him on the crucifix, and I understand. The compound works while he's on the crucifix. Fettuccine and soup lumps merge into one another on the dunny, while he is on the crucifix. Of course, by now the Grand Wizard human nugget is dead, but it's like I said, there's no more room for pettiness. A huge thank you to the patrons. You are the acid rain to my Black Desert City, which puddles up for me to dunk the Cannibal Grand Wizard into, so for that, you have my thanks. For the rest of you, please like and subscribe and share the video with a friend. Like, please. Discuss Bort down below. Why aren't you discussing Bort? Bort. Bort.